Welcome to our Kickstarter Pickstarter video for April 16th. Our first Kickstarter is a board game called The Faceless, which takes place in a small little town in America, where throughout the years, children tend to disappear without any evidence. Until recently, one child discovered that it was the billy goat, a strange creature that steals children and forces them to become its minions. You will actually be playing as some of the children who were taken by the billy goat in order to help other children find their friends' memories and get away from the evil monster. What's really cool about this board game is it will actually use magnets to control the other children. You'll be moving miniatures around a board with magnets in them, and the actual children who are still alive are represented by a compass, which will direct which way they go. And of course, the billy goat has its own magnet trying to trick the children as well. The way this game actually uses the magnets in the figures to affect the compass, I thought was a really cool idea. And actually makes perfect sense when you think of, this reminds me of that Stranger Things kind of idea, you know, these sort of kids just dropped into a very dark or mystic monster kind of deal, and them just using a compass to move, which is actually their player piece. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I can't think of any other games that use magnets as a core mechanic. It's super weird and interesting. I mean, it sounds a little gimmicky, but a gimmick can be good. There are good gimmicks. And having to like manipulate that thing and move it around seems really cool. It seems fun and interesting. I wonder if there's any worry. I mean, how long does a compass last? Is there any danger of like the magnet wearing out or something like that? I mean, I think all things can wear out, but I think it's probably pretty long time. It's probably as good as the cardboard is housed in, right? And I do like also that the memories will be scattered along the board, and gaining some of them give abilities, which helps not just make the gimmick feel more like a mechanic, in the sense that you might be like, we could get that memory there, but if we get this memory over there, it might help us push away the billy goat as well. Yeah, it seemed like a cool, different take on a co-op thing, and spooky. Real spooky. Actually, kind of some really creepy artwork in there. Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's that old myth. Like, I mean, the boogie monster in essence boiled down that kind of myth. And the magnet thing does it, like as we said, it's really cool because many other games we've seen, like I guess programming games might fall into this too, where you're not actually choosing the movements, you sort of have to direct things. But usually it's like this thing always moves left or always moves right, something like that. This literally is the compass pointing, which I really do enjoy. And the magnets can be either push or repelling, so you really can manipulate a lot more than simply just read a rule sheet and see if you follow. It feels more alive. Exactly. It feels like a real thing. And goats are scary. They're satanic. Though I think it's like a deer skull to me that looks like more. But this is actually from Ultra Ego Games for $60. Has some, as we said, magnets, some really cool miniatures that are very scary for a bunch of them. That's what I'm going to do. That's what we always do. So check it out if you want to help save some kids. The Exorcism at the House of Monkton Falls is our next pick from publisher The Screaming Brain. This is another spooky type game where every player is a paranormal investigator and you are in a house that is quite haunted. You're going to be moving around through different areas of the house, different rooms, each with their own special actions, and trying to rid them of spirits and demons and the like. And you can move throughout, you can trade things with each other, you have different abilities and tools at your disposal. There is a timer in the game that I think is kind of interesting. The timer is with a series of dice representing a certain amount of minutes. And after each person has taken a turn, you move a die down 1 pip, and so on until the time runs out. And if you're unable to completely rid the house of ghosts before those dice are gone, you lose the game. This is just kind of a fun, unique little card game that I really like the art style for. It has this kind of, black and white sort of like Edward Gorey, Tim Burton kind of look to it. Not too dissimilar from the Faceless that we just talked about. And it seemed like a cute little co-op game. I don't know, that was basically all that I liked about it. It's $40 if you want to check it out, and get rid of those demons. Nobody likes exorcisms. Too spooky. There could be goat skulls in there. Banish them. Our next Kickstarter is an RPG from Christopher Sevelson. It is called Black Void and takes place in a world where there was once a golden age on Earth, but there was a void tidal wave that pushed all of humanity away from Earth and out to the stars. You'll be playing as some of the last remnants of humanity, and it is up to you to decide how will you choose your fate. Will you try to find Earth, the cradle of humanity? Will you try to actually find out what it means to truly be human now that you've all spread to different parts of the stars? To me, the artwork looked really cool with a lot of cool monsters, and for him, he built the whole story, well, the whole RPG to be really focusing, trying to get more of the story out of it because he enjoys stories.
As do we all.
I did like that a lot because I know that's some of my favorite parts of the RPG, when playing an RPG, is some of the crazy stories you can do. He actually wanted to try and make it, he said, like not as much as the obvious, like, you know, knight, dragon, black and white kind of story. And I think that's the idea of trying to define the humanity when you're all the last of it. What does that mean? Which I think you could do some really cool stories. I mean, we've seen plenty of movies do that. Yeah. So definitely a cool idea. The RPG goes for about, the RPG for digital goes for $12, which is one of the things that's always nice about one of the RPGs on Kickstarter. You can get a nice, cheap digital version.
Yeah, instant delivery.
Yeah, and the hardcover, I believe, is $38. So make sure I'm sure we'll put them up. But definitely check it out if you are interested in Kickstarters and this sounds a little different to you. And give it a look.
Grifters Nexus is a new standalone game and expansion for grifters from indie boards and cards. This is a game that takes place in their dystopian universe where the players are a bunch of kind of mafia guys on the fringes of society trying to complete jobs with various specialists and get the most money. You're playing cards from your hand that give you certain abilities or certain things that you need to complete jobs that are on the table. And there's kind of a cooldown system where as the night goes on your turn, you're moving cards down in a row until you're able to use them again and pick them back up into your hand. So that's something you got to take into account. Grifters Nexus, basically it sounds like is the same premise, same idea with maybe a couple new tweaks, keywords, slight difference as to how the jobs work exactly, but essentially the same game. The two, as I said, are combinable, so you can use it as an expansion or just as the one. Grifters is a game that was pretty well received, and I remember we kind of like just missed it when we were, I think it was at Gen Con, it was sold out. We were trying to get our hands on it, and this is a great opportunity if you're one of those people. You can get just Nexus for $24 or both of the games for $49, which is not too bad at all, $50 just for a set of two games that can basically be used as one game. Who doesn't love grifting and grifters? I don't know.
Maybe you need a vacation from all the dark games we've been talking about. Well, Keep Exploring Games is there for you. Their new game, Tour Operator, has you running a tour guide agency in which you'll be managing guests in order to make sure they have a good vacation. To do so, you'll be having book flights, hotel rooms, and events for them to go out and visit. In addition, you'll be rolling dice for resources or hiring people, and some of the things you'll actually have to do is make sure you actually clean the plane seats, because as you know, they can get very dirty sometimes, as well as hotel rooms. I thought this was a really cool idea of a resource mechanic management in terms of also getting certain hotel rooms. It's not just getting them a hotel, but there's like the bunk bed where they can share, more like a hostel. There's like the luxury room.
So this is kind of the opposite of a vacation.
I guess
you're giving other people a vacation.
Yes.
This game is hard work.
but it's brighter colors.
Yeah, it is very bright colors for sure.
But definitely, I love that mechanic. It's different. The art is beautiful. Like the center table is like all of it, you know, like the Golden Gate Bridge, Eiffel Tower, that kind of sort of the places, you know, you would go on vacation to see. Except it's not you; it's the cards you get.
Yeah,
and they actually do have little pips, so they'll stay like 3 weeks, I believe, each time. And once they go down, they leave. So that's also a cool mechanic too. You have to keep track of how many people you have in your hotels you can keep out, when they're leaving, when they're going. Mm-hmm. So give it a look and see if you want to go on vacation or play this game.
And finally, Star-Crossed from Bully Pulpit Games is a unique take on the romance dexterity game genre that you all know and love in board games. This is a 2-player game in which you are going to play star-crossed lovers, and it's sort of a hybrid of Jenga with a role-playing game. You actually get to design your own character sheet and background, and you establish who your two characters are, what time period you're in, what setting, why you're involved with each other, what the star-crossed loverness is. And throughout the game, you're going to be doing different things, taking different actions in different scenes, and as a result of some of those things, you're going to need to remove a block from the tower of blocks that are not Jenga blocks, but you know, they're Jenga blocks. And if the tower falls down, that represents the two of you actually falling in love and coming together as a couple, and you lose. That's what you're trying not to do. In this game, it is you are trying to avoid that outcome and keep your self-control. And or I mean, whether or not you could look at that as maybe losing the game isn't a bad thing. I don't know. It depends on your characters. Depends on how that goes.
As we know, love is evil. You should always make sure you keep a foot boundary between any other living person.
Some people just weren't meant to be together. But what I really love some of the stories they talk about what types of scenarios other people have come up with when demoing the game, from like, you know, simple kind of, you know, Brokeback Mountain type scenarios, or you could do weird science fiction where there's like different species of aliens coming together. You could really do any weird thing that you can think of. And I mean, it's reminded me also there is an RPG that I can't quite remember the name off the top of my head. I'm sure people will know it. That was a horror RPG where you had to remove Jenga blocks that like represented the tension of you know, monsters coming in on you and stuff like that. I think it's it's again kind of gimmicky, but could make for some interesting gameplay in there. There were some other big name Kickstarters up this week that we're not going to cover in depth, but you might want to know about, specifically Zombicide Invader and Terminator Genesis. Obviously two huge titles, one based on the Terminator franchise, one yet another new take on the Zombicide series that a lot of people will probably back, but I think neither of us just were really that interested in. Otherwise, those are our picks. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this has been Roll for Crit. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comments below.
Oh yeah!